Hey folks, today is August the 27th. I got a email a few days ago about a really interesting Forex expert advisor. As you guys can see, I'm currently on the website right here. This EA actually specializes in trading the weekend gap, and this is actually the first time I've seen an expert advisor that takes advantage of that particular price action. Alright, as you guys can see here, the weekend gap trade is as old as Forex trading itself and is still the most reliable trade in Forex. It uses no indicators, is simple and risk controlled. The EA allows you to manage broker manipulated spreads and trade 20 plus currencies at once. No hype or exaggeration required. It will work 93% of the time for you. Let's go ahead and scroll down and take a look here at the website. Alright, I've already gone through and watched this video. I've actually already gone on and signed up for the software itself. We'll get into that a little bit more in a moment, but definitely click the link below. Come here and watch this video. You know, it was a lot of good information there, and you get to see specifically and exactly how the system works and how we profit with it. Let's continue scrolling down here. And this is an example of what a weekend gap looks like. Friday price, Monday open, and then the market closes the gap and we take our profit. Alright, this is automated. It's not a typical system. You don't really have to do anything once you set everything up. I believe it says you're supposed to set it up either the day before or 2 days before, or it might be 2 hours before. I'm gonna have to go back and go through the manual, but I personally plan to just leave the broker open continuously. And this is the only EA I'll have on that broker, so it won't be an issue for me. Alright, and obviously, let's see here, this is a ClickBank product, so you do of course have the 60-day money back guarantee. The price of the system is $120. Alright, now let's go ahead and dig into this here. As you guys can see, this is the area where you download the software. Basically, you just click product download and user guide. Now the user guide is right here. I've already gone through it and read as much as I could, which is basically everything. So I have a pretty good understanding of how the system works, and you'll also want to go through this and learn as much as possible once you or if you decide to get started with it. Let's see here. They also give you access to the settings that you're going to need in order to set it up. As you guys can see here, where is it at? Hold on one second, guys. Alright, let's click settings up here. Alright, here it is. So this is going to give you all of the information that you need to get started with the system. Obviously, this goes along with the manual that you're going to get as well. So there is quite a lot of information that you're going to be able to go through. They give you the settings and everything you'll need to make the system work profitably for you. Alright, let's see. They also give you access to a forum, and we can check that out right now. Alright, this is basically the forum, and it's pretty active from what I've seen, and the vendor also, he's in there from what I've seen just about every day answering questions and stuff, so you'll definitely be able to come in here and communicate with other people that are using the system and also get your questions answered by the vendor. One thing I did notice, for example, here, I just actually set it up. Let me see if you can see this. Weekend gap trader, smiley face, and over here, weekend gap trader. This is actually what it looks like on the chart. As you guys can see, you can make it smaller. You can make the background translucent, or you can give it a plain black background. And I'm currently only set up on one currency pair, the Euro USD, as you guys can see, but what I did notice is that when you actually start trading it, most of the people are trading, you know, lots of currency pairs. And basically what you want to do is spread out your risk, because not every trade that you set up is going to give you an entry each week. So if you set up 12, you might only actually get entered into, you know, 5 or 6 trades here. And this is just something I noticed in the forum. We can scroll down here. Alright, this was around the open when they released it here. Just had 5 profitable gap trades using default settings. Alright, so they actually had trades in NZD, Japanese yen, and several others here, but you can see right here they had 5 of their take profits hit, and 1 the stop got hit. And another good thing I've noticed is your stops and take profits tend to be pretty close in size, so obviously that's going to be a benefit to us. Let's see here. Out of 14 charts, 9 positions opened, 8 were winners. Let's see here. Excuse the dog barking. He's running around trying to chase something. All right, as you guys can see, this individual made quite a bit of profit on this day. And again, this only trades 1 day out of the week, over the weekend for the morning gap. Hold on, let me let him out real quick, guys. All right, I'm back. Anyways, you guys can see here, they do post their results and everything in the forum, so that's obviously a good thing. You can do the same. I'm not sure if I was just lucky. I had EA set up on 13 pairs, skipped the 2 Swiss franc pairs from the website list. I refused to trade any Swiss franc trades. All right, opened 8 trades, 7 winners. Nice. All right, well, I cannot explain why no trades opened on my charts. 24 charts, no trades. And I can look at this and tell you exactly why that happened. Minimum gap size in pips, 33. The basic settings that they give you show that your minimum gap size should be 10 with a max spread of 5. Let's take a look at this real quick. And I believe it is under the settings page. So we'll take one more look at that. Alright, here it is. When in doubt, use the default settings above. You guys can see here, minimum gap size in pips should be 10. That's the default settings. And this individual here was using 33. So obviously you would have had to have a 33 pip gap in order to get entered into the trade, but that obviously doesn't happen often with a lot of the pairs, so he didn't get filled. But anyway, let's keep moving on here. I found several examples of trades that they've taken here. This is on the AUD USD. You guys can see market closed there, opened there, and then they took their profit right there at that point. Same thing for the AUD Japanese yen, same thing for the GBP AUD pair. Alright, so let's go ahead and take a look at some of the settings here real quick. And then the last thing I'll do is show you guys a video of the trades that he posted. Alright, we can come in here, expert advisor, properties. Alright, as you guys can see, 10 is going to be my minimum gap size. Max spread in pips is going to be 5. Alright, you can also set up a trailing stop, but it's not recommended, but you do have the option of setting that up if you want to. Alright, let's see what else we have down here. You can set a magic number if you're using different currency pairs, or not currency pairs, but if you're using more than one expert advisor on the chart here. So like I said, it's a pretty standard expert advisor as far as options here. There's not a lot that's going to confuse you. And over here, as you can see, it manages the spread for you, 3.7 current, and my risk, or the most that I'm allowed to have, is 5. So as you guys can see, this right here, if this was Friday and we were going into Monday, it will not open a trade until the spread drops down below 5 pips. And also, the gap size has to be greater than 10 pips. Okay, that's where my settings are. And as you can see, I also have trailing set to off. Alright, let me pull this back over here. And again, everything is explained in the manual and in the settings page, so you guys definitely can, or after you actually get into the back office, you'll be able to have access to everything. Alright, let me pause it and pull up this video so you guys can see that a little bit. Alright guys, let me start this real quick. Here we go.
This is a quick video to show you the results of this week's weekend gap trading. This trading happened on a Telenex account using the weekend gap EA. And on your screen you'll see the Euro USD. As you can see, there was a gap. It just made the requirements of a gap, because if you look at the size of this gap, it was just marginally over 10 pips, which is the minimum gap size for the setting that was placed on this currency. So it just made that. When that gap occurred, it opened a deal straight away because the spreads had normalized by then. And as you can see, this is a 5-minute chart, and 7 candles later, the gap was closed. The setting that we use is we go for a 90% closure of the gap. And here are the settings that we used for this EA. The spread is cannot be higher than 5 pips. The gap cannot be smaller than 10 pips. The take profit would be 90% of the gap, and the stop loss would be 120% of the gap. So that's in fact what happened here. There's the stop loss, there's the entry, and there is the target. The stop loss is 120% of the gap. The target is 90% of the gap, and it was very quickly closed within 7 candles. If we then look at the pound transaction that also generated a transaction today, let's do that. Right, so if we look at the pound transaction, this also generated a small gap this morning. The gap was only around about 12 pips, but that qualified for a weekend gap trade. There's the closure, there's the open. It opened there, we entered a sell transaction to close the gap, and it took quite a while. You can see it missed the take target by literally fractions of a pip, and then eventually hit it. Most probably we're looking at about 2.5 hours later. And those were the only 2 transactions that activated during this week. But if we look at the actual trading account, you'll see that the results over the last 3 weeks of trading the weekend gap have been very good. We have 7 winners and only 1 loser. We had 5 trades in the first week, then we only had 2 trades the following week, and then only 2 trades this week. The last 2 weeks all 100% winning weeks. We risk 3% of the free margin on the account on each of these trades, so the account is growing very nicely at this point. This gives you an idea of how the weekend gap works. This weekend has only produced very small gaps, and these trades are very specific to the Telenex broker. The trading results vary from broker to broker, and last week we did a survey to see which brokers are producing the biggest gaps. That survey is available on the forum. So from me, Alex Deploy, cheerio until next week's weekend gap trades.
Alright guys, I hope you enjoyed the vendor going over a few of the trades that he had taken. As you guys saw, I think it was a 2-week stretch that you saw on his account. He did extremely well. He also mentioned something extremely important about brokers. The broker that he's using is Telenex, and that's this broker right here. So I highly recommend that you guys do set up an account with them, even if you have an account somewhere else, because the goal for me personally is to kind of match the results that I'm seeing him getting. And obviously spreads are going to be different at different brokers, and other things are going to be different as well. So definitely look at setting up a demo account to try it out with Telenex, and I'll also put a link to that down below. If you're on the website, you'll see the link right below us. If you're on YouTube, you'll see the link in the description. And again, this is a Telenex account that you guys are looking at right now. Okay, so if you guys want to get more information on this, definitely click the link below and it'll take you to this page. I highly recommend you watch this video so that you can learn more about the system, and he also goes over several trades that they've taken over the past few weeks here. Anyway, if you have any questions, don't hesitate to shoot me an email or contact me at EmpireAmbition.com. And as usual, I'm going to be uploading videos to EmpireAmbition.com as we go. Hopefully we'll see some good progress with this system here. Anyway, that's going to be it, guys. Talk to you soon.